Alright, welcome back to level 2 of Museum of Frost and Flame. In this second stage, we're still rolling with the same frost and flame powers our hero had before. So, right here at the starting point, we can see a mechanism. Well, okay, we actually can't trigger it yet. Oh, and there's a door that just won't open. You see, this setup at the start is meant to force players to really look around. Check it out, we have to jump down this side passage here. Now, watch out for this first ramp. We've added some safe spots here to give players a bit of a mental breather. You can just hang out in the corner like this until the snowball passes, or of course, you can use your skills to handle it. Alright, we've made it to the second floor balcony. There's a spatial interaction mechanism here. This is actually our first logic loop of the level. Your actions change the environment, which opens up a new path. It's really meant to show the player that the environment is dynamic. By spinning the mechanism, we use the snowball's own momentum to unlock the door that was stuck. Let's keep moving. So, on the second floor, the difficulty really starts to ramp up. The passage gets narrower here, so there's no room to hide. We're basically encouraging players to get active with their skills, specifically using flame arrows to shrink the snowballs. This isn't just about clearing the path, it's actually a mechanical preview for the Silk Bind move in the upcoming boss battle. Now, let's interact with this spatial mechanism to rotate the ramp. This guides the snowball into the target slot to open the door. Yeah, exactly. The environment is dynamic, and that's a huge part of the puzzles. Look, the first door is open, so we can head into the next area. Moving into the water zone now. Naturally, your first instinct is to use frost arrows to turn water into ice. This is really our first time restructuring the environment's physics. See, we're literally building a path across the river to get through. Like I said, we're always nudging the player to observe the environment. When we hit a ledge that's too high, just look right here, there's a block of ice. We can actually use leverage to tilt it and create a temporary ramp for ourselves. Now, we're facing a tougher challenge. This is an advanced version of the water to ice mechanic. Players need to figure out how the mechanism works. Basically, it's an elevator. So, we hop on, and we can see that enlarging the ice blocks on the waterfall will trigger the lift, carrying us up to the higher platforms. Alright, now we're getting into the most important aggro mechanic of this level, flying monsters seeking fire. This is a direct preview of the boss's Moth to a Flame move. By using this mechanism, we can move the torch over the artifact and enlarge it to create holy light, which lures all those flying pests right in. This is where we pull off the 3 frost, 1 flame execution combo. You stack 3 frost arrows to freeze them solid, and then hit them with 1 flame arrow to trigger the explosion. Then, we use the weight of the falling ice chunks to smash the corrupted artifact and purify it. Purification complete. Now, we can use our teleportation skill to fly across. By following the refracted light paths, we can see there's still 1 corrupted relic we haven't purified yet. We can use ice arrows. Okay, let's move there. Alright, we're in the next area now. Interact with this mechanism again. A purified artifact pop up right above us. Looks, it seems like an elevator. Let's use our teleportation skill to move forward. Now we've moved into a completely new area. This next puzzle zone is actually something we added in after the iteration, you know? We can basically find the answer just by looking at the hints. By using that moth to light behavior, we're going to gradually lure it forward. Just keep it flying until it's right above the collection. And then, we can go ahead and pull off that 3 frost 1 flame combo one more time, letting it basically do the work of purifying the artifact for us. Moving right along, let's interact with this spatial mechanism once more. And check it out, a new path has opened up right here. Wait, does this scene look familiar to you? Alright, we're basically gonna keep using that same puzzle-solving logic from before. We want to get those flying monsters to head toward the light again, so let's use our flame arrows to keep enlarging the torches up ahead to lure them in. Alright, moving on to a brand new platform. By interacting with the spatial mechanism here, we can get this door to open. Heads up, though this door moves really fast, so we're gonna need to use our dash skill to zip through it before it closes. Next up, we're gonna use our frost arrows to zip through this area real quick. Alright, so we've arrived at a new scene here. Wow, there's just way too much fire, it's incredibly dangerous, you know? It's completely blocking our way forward. But honestly, by using our powers of frost and flame, we can still get through this task in no time. Okay, so that snowball did its job and triggered the door for us. Now, get ready because the real challenge is officially about to begin. So, we're officially heading into phase 1 of the boss battle. Right now, the boss is in its egg form. We can use our frost arrows to strike the fireballs and reflect them directly back at the egg. After this, we move to the next stage. Can actually enlarge those ice blocks and hide behind them to stay safe from the silkworm's shockwave attacks. At the same time, you've got to stay sharp and keep parrying those fireballs. As the boss absorbs energy, the torches are going to start shrinking. You really need to keep an eye on them and make sure you don't let every single light source in the room go out. So, there's definitely some survival pressure here, and you'll need some quick thinking to stay alive. There we go. Once we drop the silkworm's HP down to 0, we'll move right into the next phase. In the third phase, the boss enters cocoon form, which can transform light sources into small flying monsters in the air. This is where that moth to a flame aggro and the 3 frost, 1 flame combo come back into play. We enlarge the central torch to pull the minions over the cocoon, and then freeze them so they drop. You need 5 solid hits to break the shell. Also, keep an eye on the torch size, don't let that light go out. Plus, there's a time limit. If you don't break it fast enough, you'll be kicked back to phase 2. And now look, the moth boss has arrived. The silkworm and moth have separate health bars 100 each, but they share an energy pool of 100. The moth circles above and rains down ice crystals across the whole arena. This can stack with the silkworm's shockwaves to create a song of ice and fire effect, which is pretty dangerous. Basically, as long as you're under the light, you're safe. So, that pressure really forces you to keep creating holy light. Because of that moth aggro, the moth boss will try to ram into any torch emitting holy light. If there isn't one, it'll lock onto you instead. Just a heads up, a torch will go out after being hit, but the impact will also stun the moth for 8 seconds and expose its weak spot. Now, once both bosses reach 100% energy, they'll trigger a devastating skill called Tide of Annihilation. Look out, the silkworm boss is launching a spark into the center, and the entire floor is about to shake violently and collapse. At the same time, the moth boss is unleashing its moth to flame ability. You need to time your position swap perfectly to teleport over to a safe platform. Once you drop the HP of both the silkworm and moth bosses to 0, victory is yours. The moth boss will then purify the final collectible, completing its moth to flame ritual. That's it for the guide now. Go ahead and give the game a shot. Good luck out there.